Okay, Assalamu alaikum. This is Haitham Zakir from the University of Technology of Life Sciences. I just make this video for you, my dear friends, for my students, as a guideline, um, to help them how to take a test using Blackboard. All right. So, my dear students, I have prepared some slides for you. These slides contain some of the most important guidelines which you need to keep in your mind and consider while taking your test. So first, you can find your test in different areas in your course materials. Sometimes you find it in the content. Sometimes you can find it in the test and survey area. Sometimes you can find in under different parts in your course material. So your professor, your instructor will let you know when the test is available and where you can find in your courses. So you need to navigate to select you need to navigate in your course until you find your test. All right. Like here, for example, in my courses, uh, you can find the test under the content area. So what you need to do is first you select your course, and then from the course you go for the content part. And under the content, for example, here I have added the test demo, like just to explain to you today. Right. So what you need to do is you just need to click on the title of the test. After you click, you will get this screen. And this screen actually contains very important instructions. You need to carefully read all instructions written in this screen. Right. I'm going to explain to you today what kind of instructions you can find, what are the different features of the exam or test you're taking. You can find also here in this screen. All right. Once you read the whole instructions carefully, you can click begin button. All right. But before we go and click begin button, I'm not doing this today. I just want to explain to you what are the instructions you can find in your test. So in your instructions, first part here, you need to very carefully read if the test is timed or not. So here, timed test. That means you need to have or you need to finish your test in a particular time. So it will be a limited time to finish to finish answering your questions. Like here in this example, you find 15 minutes limit time to finish all questions. All right. And also here, timer setting. Of course, when you have timed test, a kind of timer status bar will appear, and it will automatically run, and accordingly you can see how many minutes left for you to answer the rest of the questions. Also, you can find one feature which is we call force of complete your or force of completion of your test. I'm gonna explain this. Also, you can find sometimes due date and some other instructions I'm gonna explain. So very important, my dear students, once you open your test window, you never ever refresh the page, or you never ever using back button. You never click back button, because sometimes it will give you error. So don't do it. Once you click begin the test, you never refresh the page. You never click back button. This is what we need we can say first point in our mind. Never click back button. Also here, in your instructions, some details you need to care about. First one, how many attempts you have. So first, you need to read the details very carefully, right? Your instructor will give you some details, kind of description of your test. So you have to read these details very carefully. And some, like for example, what you can find in details, you can find, for example, how many attempts you have to finish this test. For example, you have only one attempt or you have more than one according to your instructor. Also, if it is timed, as explained, if it is timed or non-timed test, and also many other instructions as we're gonna explain very soon. This is also screen after you begin your test. You can find this screen and everything here. The details which I mentioned, you can find all details are written, like a description and instructions, timed or not timed. How many attempts you have to finish, or allowed for you to finish your test. Also one important force to complete your test in one set or not. This is also very important. All right, and after that you see this is, if it is timed test, you see the timer status bar, how many minutes left for you to finish, and the number of questions here. You can find the number of questions, and which question you are in right now. And you see also sometimes you can see front of each question you find how many points you have when you answer this question correctly, how many points, how many grades you're gonna obtain. And also after you finish, you can save it separately. You can save your answer separately directly after you click it. All right, so let's explain a little bit. If your test is timed, by the way, this information you can get and obtain from your instructor, from your professor. Not all tests are timed. So sometimes your instructor needs a kind of survey or needs some open tests. So you have to get this information carefully before you start from your instructor. But here I'd like to emphasize that we have actually two options in this case. If your test is timed, has a limitation in time, I mean, so it will be even auto submit or continue beyond the time. What these options mean? By the way, these options will be selected from your instructor, not with you, right? So you don't have the options to select. So your instructor will decide if it is auto submit test or you can continue beyond the time limit. So for example, for the auto submit test when you have like 15 minutes or 30 minutes to finish your exam, your questions, your answer will be automatically submit once the time is over. Once the time is finished, your answers will be submitted. All right. This is what does mean the auto submit pattern or option. The second option is you can, if the instructor is selecting this option for you, that mean continue beyond the time limit. Even the time is over, you pause the 30 minutes or 15 minutes the time, you can complete your answer. That mean you continue beyond the limited time. And it will depend on the decision, final decision, scoring decision. It will be made by your instructor, right? So you have, that's why very important at the beginning, before you start answering your questions, your test, you have to read carefully what options you have. If it is limited, if it is your test is timed or limited with limited time, and if it has auto submit, or you can continue beyond the time limit. Okay. Sometimes if you save and exit, the timer continues to run. This is also very important to care and you keep in your mind. Some people or some students will think that, okay, I can answer some of the questions and exit, save these questions and exit, and then come back and finish the rest of the questions. But this also will be according to the options the instructor selected for your test, right? Because sometimes you save your answers and you exit, but the timer still continues to run. So that means you're losing your time, because some exams you need to finish within 48 hours sometimes, or you need to complete it with a limited number of hours, right? So when you save and exit, the timer is still working, still running, and of course you're losing your time. So you have to care, and you have to read this option also carefully. And also there are some features here you can see while you're taking your test. Sometimes you can see all questions. You can see the questions completion status section, and in this case you will see the question, and next to the question you can find the grades you have, and also you can find the save button. All right. And also you can clear your multiple choices answer when you click. And for example, if you have in your test, if you have multiple choices and you select one and you're not sure your selection, you can also clear your answer and choose different one, no problem. This is what I mean clear your multiple choices answer. Sometimes you do it. Your answer are auto saved. This is also very important because if you have multiple choice questions or true false questions and you go one by one, and you're not saving one by one, so this feature, if it is active, so your answer will be saved automatically. Don't worry. But I recommend you once you answer a question, you just click save to just be in the safe side. Once you finish the last one, ready to submit, this is very important. When you finish all questions, you're gonna find two buttons. One button is you save. That means you save all questions. All right. You save the answer of all questions. And the second one is you submit. Okay. Your test. If you click submit, that means your test answer will go for check by your instructor. And here you're gonna have your score. If the questions, it depends on the question itself. If the questions are auto-graded, we have actually two different types, or not two. No, we can say two generally. We have auto-graded questions, right, like multiple choices or true false, right? And we have the second type, which is manually graded questions, right, like ACs or short answer. In this type of questions, the instructor need to grade them first, and then the results will be released later. So if your questions are auto-graded questions, and the instructor is releasing the results directly after you finish, you can see your grades after you click the submit button directly. But if the questions are AC or short answer, they need to go first to be corrected by your instructor, and then later your professor, your instructor will release the results for you. In case of that type 1, which is manually graded questions, here you have, for example, in this question, this is an AC question. So you can also view one feature, which is nice feature you can view the rubric, like how your instructor will evaluate your answer, right? So you can, before you start answering the question, you can view the rubric, and then you can start it. Once you finish, you can save the answer as we explained before. Also here, this is the timer status bar. You can see it in different colors according to the time left for you. But if you have timed test, or the test was limited time, you can see that status bar, and that status bar will inform you how much time you have, how many minutes left for you to finish the exam. All right. And by the way, the status bar will be the color of the status bar. Timer status bar will be different according to the time left for you, and it will appear warning. Warning will appear for you like after 5 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, For example, if you have 1 minute 30 seconds, that will be turn it to yellow. And if you have 1 minute, the status bar, time status bar will be red, kind of warning to care, and you try to finish your questions by that time. Okay, now how you will see your questions? I mean, the presentation options. Yeah, we as an instructor, I have some options. I can make all questions presented for you. You can answer one by one, and also I can make it one by one. I can make like you will see only one question in the page. You answer and you save your answer, and then you click to the next question. So both kind of presentations options you're gonna see, right? Um, I will explain this very soon, but before that, there is one very important instructor you have to read and you have to care about. The first one here is forced to complete your answer. I mean, the option is when you see this in your instructions, that means you have to complete. You must complete all the tests, right? The first time you open the test, you have to complete it. You cannot exit and continue the test later. You cannot do this, right? So forced to complete, that means you open your test, you need to finish it. You must to finish before you exit. Once you exit, you cannot go back to your test again. You cannot re-enter the test again, all right? And also one other option you need to care about, if it is written in your instruction, the backtracking is prohibited. You cannot go back to the question. Sometimes if the backtracking is active, your instructor choose this for you, you cannot go back your question. If you answer a question and then you select to go for the second question and you try to go back, an error will appear. You cannot go back, right? So you have only one attempt to answer the question in this case. And here also your instructor will choose the way to questions, even all at once or one at a time. You have, as I mentioned, the presentation options. You can see all questions in the page, or you can see one by one. So this is what I mean, all at once or one at a time. All right. By the way, store answers, you can select save for all answers, or you can select one by one. You can save, I mean, after you answer your question, you can just save your answer, or you can save all questions answer at the end. But I recommend you to go one by one and you save it. At the end, you can find two buttons are presented for you, save and submit. You can save all your answers and then submit them directly. If you have this in the case of all at once. In the case of all at once, all questions, all right. In this case, you have these features. But in the case of a one at a time, you have only one question, all right? One question presented in the page you need to answer, and you can, after you answer, you can save, of course, your answer. And on the same time, you can navigate through questions. If you don't have that, backtracking is prohibited. You can use arrows to go back and front of the questions. Also here you have save all answers also is available, and also at the end you can save and submit all answers. All right. And if we have multiple attempts, this is also very important to care. Sometimes you have a test with only one attempt, and you have a test with multiple attempts, so you can retake the test. This information should be informed. These instructions should be informed by your instructor. and it will be written on your test information, by the way. So you have to read them carefully, as I mentioned before. So here, for example, in this screen, you can see multiple attempts, and you can see the number of attempts you have. All right, and once you started one attempt, all right, you can retake the test. You can go further and take one more attempt, and the way or the decision will be taken by your instructor. Like sometimes the instructor decides to take the highest attempt, or he will take, or she will take the average of the two attempts. So it depends on the instructor itself. Okay, and of course it will have. There are other information you need to get before you start. Like even you have two attempts, but which time you're gonna finish each attempt, how much you have to finish each attempt, and both attempts. Which date you need to finish both attempts, right? Also, you have, after you finish your test, you can go to your grade center, and you can follow up your grades and feedback. If the test is auto graded, as mentioned, you can directly go to the grade center. You choose and collect the test, and under the test you can see the grades, how much time you used, what answers are correct, what other answers, if you have incorrect answers, you can also see. And also sometimes you can see the feedback. If your instructor write feedback, you can see the feedback directly. But in case of you have manually graded question, like an AC or short answer, the response will be posted by your instructor, so you can see it later, and also you can collect the rubric, and you can see how your instructor is grading your question, your AC, your short answer question. It depends on what type of question you have. Okay, and if you have the auto graded, you can directly see score immediately, as you see in this screen. Like you will see the name of the test, how many attempts he had, how many points or grades he have, and your calculated grade. If it is auto graded, as mentioned, how many grades, how many marks, how many points he got. Directly you can see it in your screen. After you finish and after you submit your question answer, you will see this directly. Or sometimes the instructor will not release the results for you, even it's auto graded question, but sometimes the instructor will release the results in the future. It depends on the instructor. If the instructor released them directly, you will see this screen, or you can see it in the future. It depends on the way or the options the instructor selected. All right, and that's all, my dear friends. I try to summarize what are the features you have in Blackboard while you're taking your test. As mentioned many times before you begin your test, you have to read the instructions carefully. In this short video, I try to explain what kind of options you have, what does it mean, each option, so you can figure out if you can finish your test in one set, or how many attempts you're gonna have, if the test is timed or not timed. So all these options I just explained to you. Thank you so much, and you take care. Remember, we're not learning because of tests or examinations. We are learning for learning, and all the time I need you to keep in your mind that these kind of tests or examinations are just kind of tools to measure how much you learn, how much you acquire. That's it. Good luck. Thank you so much.